Well, hello, beauties. It's Sandy Evenson with your weekly Tap and R Talk and Tap. And today I was thinking about piggybacking on a project I'm working on, and I was creating a script, a tapping script for anxiety, or whatever you want to call your stress, but stress and anxiety. And I was thinking how often we don't call it anxiety. Sometimes we really know and say, I'm so anxious. However, anxiety can come in the form of frustration and disappointment, self-doubt, anger, sadness, over loss or other things. And so what we say as we're tapping can vary. So I'm creating a general script and then putting those words in there so you can kind of see how easy it is. But the main point, whenever we start tapping, we're almost emptying our brains of all of that frenetic thought that's spinning around like the little hamster on the wheel. When we get caught up in the words of, I shouldn't have said that. Why did he say that to me? The things in the past. Oh gosh, I shouldn't have done that. And then we get into the worry about the future, with the questions of what if? And oh my God, I don't know. I'm so scared, right? And so that should all come into play when you're tapping, whether it's around a particular situation, a person, something that has happened or you're afraid is going to happen, but also around physical issues like pain, for instance, or a certain illness that you're dealing with. And all of that can come in to the whole idea of anxiety. Because, well, if you are in pain or suffering from side effects of an illness, a disease, then you're going to get stressed, right? And we know that stress can actually make everything worse around your body. And I learned that years ago in the salon. As some of you may be aware, I was a lifetime hairstylist, colorist, and I learned, when people were asking about why their hair was falling out, my geeky science side dove into that and researched a lot. And I found that stress is the number one thing. And stress that can, just cause a dysfunction and a trauma within our system because our hair is fed through the bloodstream and it responds to everything we take in, which means medications and anesthesia and the emotional stuff that we take in. So just to know that stress is big. But often we might be speaking with someone and, talking about stress, and that person will say, well, I don't have anxiety. I'm not stressed. And all we have to do is ask, how are you sleeping? More often than not, I have heard, oh, yeah, well, not too good. Maybe I get to sleep, but I wake up in the middle of the night. I don't get a good night's rest, etc. So tapping can handle all of that. So even if it's just not, I shouldn't say just, because sleep is so important and it really does deal with our bodies and our stress and everything else. But you can tap around that stress. And I have whole videos and tapping stuff on that. And I'm, should be updating those. I've done them quite a while ago. But let's get back into this idea of tapping for stress and anxiety. So the idea now is when you are stressed, if you're really ramped up, feeling totally stressed and, stressed out, frustrated, exhausted, whatever, you dive right into tapping through the points. Now, sometimes we will do what we call the setup statement using the side of the hand. And you will see this a lot if you follow any of the YouTube tappers, and there are many. They're starting with the traditional side of the hand. But when it comes to an issue that's really got you, I don't believe that our subconscious and our nervous system and body believe us when we're saying, even though I have this stress, I totally love and accept myself. No way, it's not happening. So we want to circumvent that, especially when we're really wrapped up, because we just want to get right into it. So this is what we do. And you can start with any point, end with any point, as I tell you often. Um, one hand or the other or both, just tapping lightly with a couple of fingers, two or three, on the face and upper body. You can also choose one. I tend to use the collarbone points, or you can go here or even the wrist. You can do whatever works for you. Please check out previous videos in the Talk and Tap Tapinar, as well as other videos I have. Some of them, I'm 5 years younger, and there's something about the chronology of those years there. It seems to me, feel like my image has definitely looking like I've progressed, right? So, well, I digress. Let's get into this tapping. So I'm just going to tell you that as you work on your own issue, use your own words. You don't need to take time to take your temperature, as it will, deciding how stressed you are. We do that on the SUD scale from 0 to 10. When you're near panic, you're at a 10. But often when you're ramped up, you know that, so you don't have to check in. You will feel the difference as you tap. And trust me on this one, I have done this many, many times during a time when the stress level was constant and pretty fearful in my heart and in my brain. So know that this does work for you. So I'm going to do my traditional way, starting at the eyebrow and going around. And let's just go into it. Take a breath and follow after me. Eyebrow. I am so stressed out. Side of the eye. This is driving me crazy. Under eye. I don't know what to do. Under nose. I'm so anxious. Chin. What if it gets worse? Collarbones. I'm so frustrated. Underarm. I don't know how to get through this. Top of the head. I can't deal with this. Eyebrow. I seriously can't deal with this anymore. Side of the eye. I want it to stop. Under eye. This stress is killing me. Under nose. I feel so anxious, so nervous. Chin. This is so debilitating. Collarbone. And I'm getting exhausted. So take a breath. That's 1 or 2 rounds I think I did. So you can see how that goes. This is whatever's in your brain. And you continue just getting whatever words are in there. And I want to shift a little bit. I'm going to do more of an angry stance and then more of a sad kind of feeling. Okay. So you can get that feel for it, because you may move through several emotions while you're tapping. And I find that is so often true. You may start out with one, and underneath it is something else. So let's just take another breath. I am so PO'd. Side of the eye. I am truly angry about this. Under eye. How could he have said that to me? Under nose. I shouldn't have said that. Chin. I should have kept my mouth shut. Collarbones. This makes me furious. Underarm. It's so unfair. Top of the head. I hate this. Eyebrow. I hate it. Out of the eye. And I want something to change. Under eye. because I am really PO on your nose. Well, F you. I mean, seriously, F you, collarbone. I didn't ask for this, and it makes me angry. Okay, so you can see how that goes. I want to invite you when you're actually angry, go over the top, say it loud, particularly if you have a way to be where no one can hear you, scream. Scream into a pillow if you need to. I found tapping in the car works really well for this. You know, be in a safe place, park, in the shade or somewhere protected, right? Um, and just go for it over the top. And I have different ways to do anger tapping. There's some really powerful ways, but just when you're really upset, you can do that and just dive in. And remember, you can use all the points or just one of them. So let's switch over to something that is just very upsetting, but you're feeling more weepy, kind of maybe needy and sad, and just, go for it that way. Breath. What am I going to do? Side of the eye. This is really hurtful under eye. And I don't know how to fix it. Under the nose. I'm so anxious. Chin. I'm so afraid. What's going to happen? Collarbone. I don't know how I'm going to even deal with this. Underarm. I've never dealt with anything like this. Top of the head. But I knew it was going to happen. Eyebrow. I should have known better. Side of the eye. It just makes me sad. Under eye. It's so unfair. Nose. And it hurts. It really hurts. I feel it in my heart. Under the collarbones. Now take a breath. So you see, sometimes you will go one after the other because you have all those emotions, or they might mix in. I'm really pissed off, but I'm also so sad because all of that can be there. And I've experienced that. I know many of my clients have and friends that we work with. And the other part is, begin to tap and also, tune into your body because something's happening there. You may have a headache, which can show up back here at the back of the head. It can be behind your eyes. You may feel it in your jaw, your neck, back at your neck, in your shoulders can be tight. Your heart might be aching. You could have a rapid heartbeat or shortness of breath. Sometimes it's in our torso. It's like that whole area, or maybe it's just nausea in not just nausea, in your stomach or in your lower abdomen in that gut level, and that can be, where you feel like you've been knocked off your core, here in your core, or just gut punched, right? It can be all of that, or you might have different aches and pains or different sensations in your body. Just kind of tune in because you can add that to the tapping. So I'm going to do one more to show you that. Again, take a nice breath, and I hope you're tapping along with me because it doesn't matter if none of these issues are for you. It will still help you. It will keep you out of your busy brain for at least a couple minutes. One more time. I am so stressed out. Top of the head. Okay, eyebrow. This anxiety has me exhausted. Side of the eye, and my heart is racing. Under eye. I can't even catch my breath. It's hard to breathe. Under nose. And I'm feeling a little nauseous. Chin. All this stress. Collarbone. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. Okay, so as you're tapping, you tap until you feel a shift. a shift in your body. There will be some release of the tension. You'll feel your shoulders kind of relax. You'll be able to breathe better. Your heart may slow down. You know, if you check in, you go, oh, that pain is gone or not so severe. So there might be some of that. Can also be a tear or lots of them, a yawn, a sigh, a sneeze, anything. Some of us may feel some tingling going on in our hands, right? That energy. Feel the energy, move it. I write about this in my book where I did a huge thing on anger, and my arms just kind of went in the air, and the tingle, I can feel that now, was incredible. And so all of those are, you know, mandatory, all of the things I've just done till now, but see how you can just stop for a second and tap. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't, because maybe you're at a meeting, maybe you're at a family gathering, maybe at a lunch, you could be anywhere where you need to release some tension, but you don't have a way in front of these people. Because if you suddenly start tapping, it might be a little bit disconcerting for all of you, right? So if you can excuse yourself and go to the restroom. If you're at home, you know, run into your bedroom. I got to get something, right? I got to go to the kitchen and just do a little bit of tapping. Or you can do stealth tapping. And stealth tapping, especially with others, you know, when you don't want it to be noticed, is really quite profound. So this is when the side of the hand can be quite handy. And you simply, if you remember, side of the hand point is from the bottom of the pinky to the top of the wrist, just that side. And you're tapping with your other fingers, either one. And what I like to do, I might even be stressed right here in a virtual setting. And my hands will be beyond the camera, below the laptop or the desk. And I can just lean in and still talk to you and do that. You can be sitting at a table or across from a desk with a meeting. Maybe you're in a bank and it's really stressful. Wherever you are, you can still do that under the edge of that table or desk. Again, you're leaning in, you're paying attention, you're conversing, and all the while you're just gently tapping the side of your hand. I did this quite a bit when my late husband was in the emergency room, in ICU, in those scenarios, and I would just, if I was seated, I would just lean forward. I would have my hands just gently between my legs, sort of, you know, looking like they're in my lap almost, but between my thighs or knees, leaning in, listening intently to those doctors and nurses. So I would get that, but also it was keeping my heart rate a little bit rested and my brain more clear, because guess what? As soon as you tap, that brain now comes back on in true function to allow you to start to think clearly. So, you know, you're eliminating some of that mind chatter so you can get that clarity. Oh, I know. I'm talking about a lot of different things, but it's all involved in just how you can tap in the moment and tap at any time. And so the other one that I gravitated to a lot is this. So if we look at this position, I'm down at the collarbone points, which are, you know, if you come to those little knobs at the end of the collarbones and you come out and down about an inch or so into that indentation, that is the collarbone points. And you can kind of have your whole hand in that area. Some people put their whole hand over the top of it. That's fine. So what I had done was, it just felt so natural. You know how you can put your hand on your heart, you know, and you're like thinking about someone or talking with someone with empathy, you do this, right? And so putting your hand on your heart, naturally your thumb and forefinger will come to the under the collarbone points. So just know that that's a possibility Nobody knows what you're doing, but it can just rest there. You can kind of gently massage the points or just tap the fingers, tap the whole hand, come up a little higher if you wish, right? So that's there for you. I gotta tell you, I did it often in the final months of my husband's decline, because he had dementia and heart disease, and it was pretty crazy there. And frustration was my big thing. I would have just fed him like a quarter of a sandwich, and within a few minutes, anywhere between a few minutes and 15 or 20, he would ask me what I had for food. And I would just get frustrated at that or anything else that was going on with him. And I would literally be at the kitchen sink, rinsing off a little dish, and then tapping with my other hand. So I would just tap the collarbone point while the water's running. And I would just go, I'm so frustrated. This is so hard. I don't know what I'm going to do. This is crazy. And it was just maybe 30 seconds max. And that kept me grounded. And I did it several times a day. So just understand you've got all the tools you need in that moment. Um, you can tap your fingertips. So it's really cool if you're walking, standing and talking to someone, tapping on the fingertips. I have done a video on this before, but just remember the points are on the inside of the nail bed on the thumb, and then the inner, sort of pointing back to the thumb, the inner side of the nail bed. And some people teach tapping like that. But what I do is use my thumb and fingers, and I just use the finger to tap that thumb, and then the thumb to tap the fingertips. You can go back and forth or just rotate around, whatever you want to do. You can literally do both hands. I always saw someone giving a speech, and she knew she was still a little bit nervous, and she had both hands. She was tapping with both fingertips as she was walking on the stage back and forth a bit, and then she was doing everything else. So I've given you the tools. Remember, you can tap with no words. It works. So that's when, especially stealth tapping, you can just do what comes naturally to you, what works best, and just tap. Don't worry about the words in your head. But if you can, and when you can, maybe later in the day, before bed, especially, get the words that are in your head out. Say them out loud if you can, and to yourself if you can't. While you're getting ready for bed, tap those words out. Or in the morning when you get up, tap them out. That is such a great way to reduce your stress. Your stress level, the more often you remember to do this kind of thing, the less triggered you get. You won't be jumping up to a 10 so much. If you are walking around at that 7 or 8, like a lot of us are, then you get triggered into it easily. If you can at least come down to a 5 and get yourself on a daily level down to the really low levels of 3 and 4, you're going to be so much more grounded. I guarantee you will think better. You will do so much better. So please comment here or in my social medias at Coach Sandy Evenson. Tell me if this is helping you. Tell me what you would like to work on as my tapping partner, Candy Campbell, comes on often and we tap together. We work through an issue of hers or something that you have told us you want us to work on, and we'll help you. We have more in store, she and I separately and together, to help you in every way we can to handle your emotions, to stop the stress, break through all of the resistance you have to shine your best life. So I want you to remember that you are loved. I see your beauty. I see your light. Shine brightly.